You're listening to Change Your POV Podcast, episode 88. So find an accountability partner. This is someone that may be on the same journey that you're on, all right? Someone that you can report to on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And it helps tremendously if this person has already done whatever it is that you're trying to do, all right? So if you're trying to quit smoking, finding somebody that's already quit is going to be probably the person you want to turn to. If you're trying to lose weight,
Welcome to Change Your POV Podcast, helping you navigate transitions in your life, like entering and exiting college or the military, changing jobs or careers, and providing you with the coaching and mentorship needed to help you advance in your personal or professional life. Sometimes all you need is to change your point of view. Now, here's your host, Eddie Lazary.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Change Your POV Podcast. I am your host, Eddie Lazary, and today we are doing a solo show. We're still having a difficult time trying to pin down Bennett's new schedule. However, this week gives us an opportunity to try something we've never done before. I'm going to do a solo show tonight that's going to release on Wednesday, and Bennett is going to do his own solo show, which is going to release on Friday. And of course, since we are to good, true fashion, men, veterans, and all of that, we're going to see which show gets the most downloads. I know, a little petty, but whatever. It is what it is. All right, check it out. Before I get into today's topic, which let me just reveal to you what that is, 15 tips to get and stay motivated. All right. So granted, there are way more than 15, but these are 15 that I find extremely valuable for myself, and that I really honestly think you'd be able to benefit from as well. All right, but before we get into that, I would like to say thanks to this week's sponsor, 10th Mountain Apparel. 10th Mountain, or as we all commonly call them around here, Mountain Up, is a military branded inspired by power and lifestyle of the 10th Mountain Division from World War II to modern times. You can find all kinds of things that 10th Mountain sells. Now, let me tell you, when I say everything, their laundry list of items that they add to their store is constantly growing, and they're developing new things and adding them to their catalog all the time. But right now, you can head on over there and you can grab some awesome kick-ass auto medals. You can get clocks, dog tags, all kinds of really cool hats. That's kind of how they got started, by creating all these awesome hats. And I've got one. I own it, and it is probably my favorite hat. I'm a huge hat person, and ever since Bennett gave me that hat, that's the only thing that I've been wearing. They got hoodies, knives, license plates, man cave shit. You got mugs, shorts, signs, stickers, t-shirts, and the list just goes on and on and on. So you please head on over and check this out. There's got to be something there that you want, or somebody in your life that you love would love something like this. So you can check all of it out by heading over to changeyourpov.com/mountain up. And while you're there, buy everything that you possibly can at checkout. Enter the code GOOD10, that's GOOD10, GOOD10 for your 10% discount. All right, let's get into this week's episode. We're going to talk about motivation. Everyone here struggles with motivation. Everybody always is trying to find ways to become more motivated. So here we go. Starting, it doesn't matter. You could be starting a new workout, a new diet, trying on going back to school. Perhaps you are trying to quit smoking. I've been there many times. Or, any other positive change you're trying to make in your life. We always start with our best intentions, but then we lose steam or motivation along the way. So we often have very difficult times getting and staying motivated. So I've developed these 15 tips here to help you get and stay motivated. All right, so let's just get right into this. And these are in no particular order. These aren't like my most favorite to least favorite. None of that. They're just the order in which I came up with them that I find help with whenever I'm trying to get and stay motivated. Number one, write down your goals. All right, it's important to know what it is you want, so you know what direction you're heading in. Somebody once said, and I don't know where this comes from, but everyone's heard the phrase, a journey begins with a single step, which is true. But if you step off in the wrong direction, you're going to end up 2,000 miles in the wrong direction, okay? So it's important to know where you're headed. What do you want to accomplish? So you want to write down your goals. There's just something extremely powerful about writing things down as well. I mean, you could think about them in your head or whatever, but as soon as you write them down, that act of going from your mind down your arm to your fingertips and actually writing something down, extremely powerful. Okay? Not only that, but it also helps you reflect back on those goals that you've set yourself along the way during your journey. Number two, understanding your why. There are many reasons why people do what they do, right? It's important to understand why it is that you're doing what you want to do. Right? Doing something for no reason, or, here's even worse, doing something for someone else's reason or for the wrong reasons at all, you've got to find your own why, all right? If you don't, you're going to find your endeavor extremely short-lived. And you can write this down too. Number three, make a commitment to yourself. Oh, I can't tell you how many times somebody said to me, oh, they're going to stop doing this because somebody in their family wants them to, right? I guess that could be a motivator, but at the end of the day, you really want to do this for yourself. So make a commitment to yourself. Keeping a daily journal can help you reflect back on those commitments, and you could easily determine whether or not you're on track on those commitments much earlier on. So if you're journaling these things, you're keeping track of kind of your progress, things that are going easy for you, things that may perhaps be going difficult for you. You can look back on these things and you can quickly tell if you're off track, and you can make minor corrections to get back on track. All right. Number four, put something on the calendar. Somebody once told me this and I was like, yeah, okay, I kind of get it. But last summer, beginning of the summer, I actually signed up, me and my daughter, we signed up for a Spartan race in Killington, Vermont. And let me tell you, finding a reason to get out and start getting some exercise and getting into better shape, knowing that I've made a commitment to do this, it's on the calendar. Man, I'm telling you, it was not just for me, but for my daughter. I'd look at her and say, hey, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go for a light jog? Do you want to go, hike Mount Monadnock? And she's like, yep, because she knew that we've committed to this and we were going to do it one way or the other. And so putting something on the calendar is extremely huge, right? Maybe it's not a Spartan race. Maybe it's a 5K run that you want to do. Maybe it's a date night you want to take out with your wife. Put it on the calendar. Not only will it motivate you, but it'll make her feel special that you've actually allocated some of your time for her. It could be whatever you want, but by placing it on the calendar, you make it much more, you make yourself much more motivated to keep marching towards your goal, okay? Number 5, get an accountability partner. Now, oh my God, I can't tell you how many times I've tried to do things on my own by myself because, after all, I can motivate myself, right? I mean, I've been able to motivate others, through my time in the military, through my time owning my own business. I mean, it was easy for me to motivate others. But when it comes to motivating myself and keeping myself accountable, man, that's tough to do, right? So find an accountability partner. This is someone that may be on the same journey that you're on, all right? Someone that you can report to on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And it helps tremendously if this person has already done whatever it is that you're trying to do, all right? So if you're trying to quit smoking, finding somebody that's already quit is going to be probably the person you want to turn to. If you're trying to lose weight, perhaps somebody that's already lost a ton of weight would be the person you'd want to turn to for your accountability partner. All right, and it's a good thing, too, to to keep this in mind. You are looking for an accountability partner that has not only already done what you're trying to do, but it's a little bit further ahead than you are. What I mean by that is trying to learn something from someone that is so far advanced from where you are sometimes can get very frustrating, right? I mean, you try to, you're trying to lose a couple 100 pounds and you pop in the P90X and you're like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't even get through 5 minutes of what this guy is trying to get me to do. But if you're working with an accountability partner that recently or is on their own journey of losing weight, and perhaps they've already lost, say, 50, 60, 70 pounds, and, they know where you're at. They know where you're coming from because it wasn't that long ago that they were right where you were. So they can relate to you a lot better than somebody that's just so far ahead. This is the same thing like we talk often on this podcast about a guy that I work with named Lee, and he just recently started his own podcast. And of course, we're in episode 88 now, and which, that seems to be a lot further ahead, but not really. I'm just slightly ahead of him. But, he's even told me, he goes, man, it's so much easier to learn from somebody that's just a little bit further ahead than me than trying to learn somebody that is just so advanced, because they lose sight and they forget where you come from the very beginning steps of, let's say, creating a podcast, for example. So there you go. Get an accountability partner, someone that's already done what you're trying to do, and somebody that's just slightly further ahead than you are. Number 6, find a mastermind group. Now, as a matter of fact, Lee and I talked about mastermind groups and how to find one, what to look for when you're finding one, or even perhaps starting one yourself. So if you are interested in checking out that episode, you can head on over to changeyourpov.com/episode 63. And that title of that show is Joining or Starting Your Own Mastermind Group. You might find some good value there as well. All right, so getting back to it. So finding a mastermind group or being a part of a mastermind group. Now, this can be 2 or more people, right? A lot of people think mastermind group, I got to have 50 people in my group or it's not worthwhile. No. 2 or more people gathered together for the same purpose, or at least that are like-minded, really is wonderful when you are trying to stay motivated with whatever it is you're trying to do. Now, don't get this confused. This is different than an accountability partner. An accountability partner is going to be somebody that's really by your side, kind of stepping through this with you. A mastermind group could be a bunch of people that maybe they're not exactly doing what you're doing or what you're trying to do, but they understand what it is you're trying to do, and they're going to be there to help cheer you on, give you some ideas, some tips. Maybe they know other people outside the mastermind group that they can refer you to. So it's a great resource to get and stay motivated is a mastermind group. Number 7, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Oh my God, I can't tell you. I know I've mentioned this several times on the podcast before, and I mention it a lot because I'm a perfectionist to a fault, right? When I was in school, I almost didn't graduate high school because I wouldn't complete all of the homework, and if I didn't complete it, I wouldn't turn it in. And my teachers were like, you don't need to complete 100% of the homework. Just turn in whatever you've got completed and you can get partial credit. Well, my thick head didn't quite understand that. And I let perfect be the enemy of good. And I decided that because I didn't finish, even if it was 1 or 2 questions that I didn't finish, because I didn't finish it, I didn't turn any of it in. I got 0 credit instead of getting, who knows, I could have probably got 70% on that. And I did it all the time. Okay. So if you, a lot of times people that I talk to, not just myself, but these are other people too that suffer from this disease, I call it a disease. They say, they're waiting for that perfect moment or that perfect time in their life to start whatever it is that they want to do. All right. Like if we're talking about losing weight, they got to have the perfect diet lined up and figured out. They got to have the perfect schedule lined up. They got to have, all the equipment lined up. They got to have their personal trainer lined up. They got to have where they're going to do their gym workouts lined up. They got to have all of their, workout clothes picked out, and they got to have all of their audio tracks on their on their smartphone, figured out their workout track, and they got to have, I mean, the list of things that people put in front of themselves as a reason to to not do what they know they're supposed to do is infinite, right? So don't let perfect be the enemy to good. My suggestion here is just get out there and do it. Okay? Recognize that there's really never a good time to do things that we want to do in our lives. All right? Those of you who have kids, ask yourself, were you ready to have kids? I mean, really? Maybe you talked about it with your spouse. Maybe you even planned it. But when the test finally came and she was pregnant and you guys looked at each other with this scared look in your eyes, were you really ready? And you know what? My gut tells me you probably weren't. I wasn't. You're right. It's never a good time for your car to break down. It's never a good time to get pregnant. It's never a good time to sell a house. It's never a good time to get into shape. There's never a good time to start going back to college. There's never a good time to ask your boss for a promotion. Just listen. There's never a good time. It's never going to be perfect. The stars are never going to align. You're never going to be in that perfect moment. So just do it already. Okay? Number 8, make a commitment to others. Oh, so this is what Bennett and I did when we first started the 30-day WellFit Challenge. We knew we were our weights were out of control. We were just embarrassed to be where we were in our lives. And we knew we needed to make a change. And so we decided, let's do this. Yep. Okay. So we're like, all right, well, we've got the accountability partner thing figured out. What do you want to do? We knew how to work out. We both spent, time in the military. And if the military teaches you anything, they teach you how to work out. So that was covered. Check the box. Bennett had a lot of experience with the diet, particularly in the paleo diet arena. And so I had him to help me kind of coach and teach me through that. So we had everything figured out, but there was something missing. I knew there was something missing. It was that motivation piece that I knew that we were both going to need if we're going to be successful. And I said, you know what? Let's do this, but let's put it on the website and let's talk about it on the podcast and let's tell everybody in the world that we're going to do it. Not that, okay, I mean, now don't get me wrong here. A part of me, and I think a part of him, we wanted to do it. And then once we were done and we had all the results, then we would reveal to the world that, oh, look, folks, this is what I did. Look how good I look now, right? Because by doing that, we knew that if for whatever reason we failed, we would never have to tell anybody. That's the kicker. There's the rub right there. If you're telling somebody in advance, there is a chance that what happens if I don't complete it? What happens if I don't succeed? What happens if I fail and I've already committed to all these people and I've made it public? Man, I'm going to be in bed. You know what? I know it's easy to think that because I think that too, or at least I thought that in the past. But I'm telling you right now, making a commitment to others, you'll be surprised. The more people you tell, the more people you're going to have in your corner to cheer you on and ask you and plug in, how you doing? How's it? I mean, I tell everybody at work that we're doing this, and everybody says, and I tell them I'm not on a diet. I've just changed I've changed what I eat. I don't consider it a diet. But of course, they think what I'm doing is a diet and a workout thing. So they always ask me, how's your diet doing? Somebody just today brought in some very awesome looking, smelling, home cooked chocolate brownies, and I wanted to just tear into one of those so bad. But because I told everybody, they knew what I was doing, and they're like, oh man, sorry, you can't have one, but they're really good. I'll have yours. Somebody said to me, I'll have yours. That's great. Thank you for having mine. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. I looked at that and I'm like, oh man, I really want that. But make a commitment to others, and it doesn't. I mean, you don't have to go to the extremes that Bennett and I did by announcing it on a podcast and putting it out there on social media and putting it on a website for the entire world to see. We got a lot of. We're talking, thousands of people got involved with our 30-day WellFit Challenge. People either engaged with us in commenting or downloaded the podcast episodes that we were doing, or whatever. People were keeping track and taking note on what we were doing. And it's a little intimidating. I've got to be honest. But, it is what it is. Tell everyone. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Get this. Tell your kids. Oh man, I'm telling you, you wanna accomplish something? Tell your kids you're gonna do it, because let me tell you, if you don't do it, they're gonna be the first ones to come back and be like, "But I thought you said," right? Y'all know that's true. Go on social media if you want to. Make a post. Tell the whole world. Stand up on top of a mountain if you have to, and proclaim what it is that you want to do. By making it public and telling everyone and making that commitment to everyone, it will help you stay motivated. Because after all, that is the goal, right? Number 9, find a role model. And again, this is different than your accountability partner. This could be somebody that you know, or somebody that you know of but don't know personally. But find somebody that's done what you've done and try to get a hold of that person if you can, and ask them to share with you how they stay motivated while they were trying to accomplish, or while they were accomplishing their goal, right? If you could find out more about whatever tasks it was that other people were doing along their journey. It could be a marathon. Perhaps maybe you want to run a marathon, for example. Find somebody that's run one and ask them, say, hey, how long did it take you to train? Like, how did you stay motivated when you felt, when you had those days where you got up and you just didn't feel like getting out there and running, right? So find a role model, somebody that has done what you've done, or is willing to share with you their story. That's incredibly powerful. And again, you don't necessarily have to ever talk to that person. You can maybe find a podcast of somebody that's talking about running a marathon or losing weight, or you can read a book, or whatever it is. Find a role model, somebody that you can say yes, somebody you can emulate, somebody that you can aspire to be, or to be like anyway. Next, number 10, recognize your small wins. I can't tell you how many times going through the 30-day WellFit challenge, Bennett and I did our daily journaling, and we had every day we had to write down things that we considered our wins for the day, things that we succeeded in, or our accomplishments. And then we also had to write our, things that we failed in, things we didn't do so well, or things that we struggled with. And every day it seemed like the one section that I filled out first was the section of my, things that I struggled with. And I started asking myself, why is it that I can find, things that I struggle with that day much easier than I can find things that I succeeded in that day? And I think it's just the way we think. Whenever we're trying to accomplish something big in our life, we always see that big thing, that end goal, that thing that's down the road ways. We see that as, once we accomplish that, then we've made an accomplishment. But you got to remember, you have small wins along the way every day, multiple times a day. And to recognize those small wins is incredibly important. We can easily pick out the small losses, or the small failures, or the things that we struggled with, right? We can pick those out quite easily, but it's more difficult to pick out those small wins. So no great accomplishment is done all at once or all in one day. It takes time. It takes work to accomplish your goals. Recognize the small goals that you have along the way. And again, this is an easy way, all right? An easy way to do this is through daily journaling. Grab a journal, handwrite it before you go to bed. Just reflect back on your day. What were some things that you did well that day? And just really rejoice in those and be grateful for those. Writing down those days that you have good wins. They can be small wins, but even small wins move the needle and deserve recognition. All right. Seeing where you came from in your process will help you keep your eye on the prize. Number 11, surround yourself with the right people. Oh, this is so important. Being around negative people, or people that just are always putting you down or boo-hooing your goals, are only going to distract you from your goals and keep you from achieving them. These people are, they negatively impact your motivation to continue. Find people that are on your side, that are in your corner, all right? That are team players that will cheer you on, encourage you when things get difficult. I mean, no great boxer in this world has ever achieved their greatness without somebody in their corner, a trainer, a coach, a mentor. Somebody's always in their corner, right? Professional athletes, they all have coaches, they all have personal trainers. You just can't do it alone. Just recognize you can't do it alone. So you want to surround yourself, since you can't do it alone and you need other people in your life, you might as well find the people that are most conducive to your success, okay? And sometimes it's hard because the people that are sometimes the most negative are the people that are the most closest to us. And so it's very difficult because you don't want to lose that relationship, but you really aren't, getting any benefit out of having them kind of, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of times the people that are, negative, what do you call them, negative Nellies or whatever, are usually people that are kind of jealous about what it is you're doing. They want whatever it is that you're doing. They want to accomplish the things that you were accomplishing in your life. They look up to you. And sometimes people have just weird ways of showing it and expressing how proud they are of you. And so they kind of poke fun and they aren't as supportive as you wish they would be, or as supportive as they could be. And maybe that's just a conversation. You sit down and say, hey, I really need you to be supportive in me in this challenge or in this time in my life, because it's going to be difficult. And I need people in and around my life that are going to be a positive influence so I don't lose motivation, because I want to see this through. Can you be that positive influence in my life? Don't just say, I hate it when you poke fun at me, because then they just get all defensive. Go at it a different way and say, you know what? I really need you in my life. Can you be the positive influence in me to help push me along when I seem to struggle a little bit? And I'm telling you, if you ask people to be part of this journey with you, I'm telling you, they're going to be much more apt to kind of be that team player that you need on your side. Number 12. Determine your reward system. You're like, I'm a grown man, I'm a grown woman. I don't need that reward. Yes, we do. We're human beings. We're always looking for a reward system in some way, form, or fashion. All right. When you complete your goal, set aside an incentive. A lot of people use and make sure that the incentive is in line with your goal. Okay. What I mean by that is, perhaps maybe your goal is to lose weight. A lot of people say, oh, I'm on a diet, I'm losing weight, and I'm going to give myself a reward system. Every Sunday is a cheat day, and I'm going to eat whatever I want. Or, no, man, that reward system is not in line with your goals, okay? So perhaps you here's one. Perhaps you take your accountability partner out for a great meal, or you take them out to some kind of an event. At the end, when you finally reach your goal. This will give you that little incentive along the way, and even say, all right, like for example, we're doing the 60-day WellFit challenge right now, myself and a few other guys, and I told them, I said, when we get to the halfway mark, when we get to the 30-day mark, we're all going to get together and we're going to go out and we're all going to have a beer and we're going to eat some awesome paleo food somewhere and we're going to celebrate. And then when we're done with our the full 60 days at the end, when we're completed with the challenge, we're going to get together again and we're going to go out and we're going to have another beer and we're going to have some more great paleo food. And then we're all going to get together and run a Spartan race together in November in Fenway. So that's kind of our last hurrah to kind of cap off this milestone in our lives. So, determining a reward system for yourself and include those people that are in and around you, whether it's your accountability partner or, whoever you have that's kind of going along this with you. Make them part of that reward system. They will appreciate it. Number 13, set milestones along the way. And you're like, what's a milestone? Well, it's like anybody that's traveled cross country, every so often you're always looking for what? Yep. You're looking for that great big green sign on the right-hand side of the road that tells you How many miles you got to that next city that you're going towards, right? That's your pit stop, or perhaps maybe that's the city that you got to get gas in, or pee break, or that's where you're going to sleep for the night, or whatever. Those long distance trips, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're looking for those mile marker signs, and setting milestones like that along the way in your journey is really the same thing. Having milestones to kind of mark out your journey of accomplishing your goals will help you know that, one, you're heading in the right direction, and it gives you a good positive endorphins when you reach those milestones and those little mini goals along the way, right? These milestones can be extremely small, and the intervals can be extremely close together. Those of us that use to-do lists, how awesome is it, that feeling that you get when you actually get to check things off of your to-do list, right? Those are the little things, but man, they make us feel good, right? You know how good it feels to check those things off your to-do list. Creating milestones along your journey to your goal is an easy way to continue your momentum. And that's, at the end of the day, what we're looking for. Number 14, we're getting close to the end here. Number 14, focus on one goal at a time. Many times when people start out on their journey to accomplish a goal, they get overzealous. The big pie in the sky syndrome, so to speak. And they do 10 things all at once. This makes no sense, all right? I'll try to go from doing, now this is the mentality that we have. Let's try to go from doing nothing to doing 10 things all at one time, right? It just doesn't work. And then all of a sudden, when we fail on one or two of those things, or three of those things, or four of those things, it starts to, that domino effect happens, right? Next, we give it all up and we're not doing anything anymore. So focus on doing one thing at a time. And then once you've accomplished that, then find something else, right? Find that next one thing to focus on, and the next, and just keep building it that way. And finally, number 15, last but not least, surround yourself with tools to help you accomplish your goals. Tools. What do you mean by tools? Well, if I'm trying to lose weight or get into better shape, I like to listen to podcasts that has to do with weight loss, or a motivation podcast to help me stay motivated. I like to read books on the topic and talk to people that are on a journey of losing weight. Perhaps I read articles or whatever I can find. I just surround myself with the topic, and I learn as much as I can, because it helps me stay clear and focused on my goal, and it keeps it right in the forefront of my mind. And everything that I do, it's right there. It's staring me in the face, right? So find and surround yourself with tools that will help you accomplish your goal. All right, that was a pretty quick episode. That wraps it up. So again, here's some the links to the links to that mastermind group is in the show notes for this episode, as well as the link to Spartan Race. If you're interested in joining a Spartan Race in your area, I highly recommend it. It is a huge motivator, putting something on the calendar and getting something done. It's a great time. You can run it by yourself. You can run it with a team or a friend or a family member. My daughter and I ran 2 of them last year, and we're running that one again this year. It's just awesome. It's just a good time. So there you have it, folks. You can find everything we talked about in today's show notes page over at changeyourpov.com/episode 88. Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe in your podcast player of choice. We have a lot more great content headed your way. I missed you this week, Bennett. I look forward to getting back to the groove of things next week, hopefully. But in the meantime, check out his episode this Friday, episode 89. I don't know what it's about. I'm going to be just as excited to hear it as you. And Bennett doesn't know anything about this episode either, so it's going to be the first time he's listened to it on his way to work tomorrow, I'm sure. All right, folks. Now, come be part of our community over at Change Your POV Facebook page. We also have a group if you want to get in with myself and Bennett and other folks that have been guests on the show, and other folks that are just into what we're doing. You can find that at Change Your POV Squad. Again, that's Change Your POV Squad. If you want to If you want to hit me up, you can at, you hear my dogs barking? Oh my God, they're always barking. Anyway, you can, shut up. You can email me at eddie@changeyourpov.com. I think somebody needs to go outside. All right, folks, until next time.
Thanks for listening to Change Your POV podcast with Eddie Lazary. Check out more content by going to changeyourpov.com. And remember, your ability and willingness to change your point of view will open doors of opportunity.